Sometimes actors become so closely tied to their characters that we forget they're real people with lives completely different from what we see on screen. This was definitely the case for Moe Howard, the leader of the Three Stooges. Known for his tough guy personality, bowl haircut, and quick-witted slaps and insults, Moe's real self remained a mystery to many. But when a long-sealed garage on his old property was finally opened decades after his death, what people found inside was nothing like they expected. For over 30 years, that garage sat untouched, just behind Moe's quiet home in the Toluca Lake area of Los Angeles. Unlike other Hollywood stars who lived in huge mansions, Moe chose a simple house on a peaceful street. Neighbors described him as polite and private, someone who would wave hello but kept to himself. That privacy extended to the garage, which was locked with heavy chains and covered windows. It was the one part of his life he kept completely off limits. Even the local mailman, who walked that same route for decades, remembered how mysterious the place felt. Moe had left clear instructions in his will. No one was to open the garage for 30 years after his death. Family members wondered about it, but respected his wishes. The garage became something of a legend, like a forgotten treasure chest, waiting for the right time to be opened. During his last years, Moe spent a lot of time in that garage. Friends recalled hearing him move boxes and papers around, but he always worked alone and locked it tightly when he left. He would only say things like, "It's my dream," without ever explaining what he meant. When the 30 years were finally up and the garage was unlocked, what they found inside wasn't just props from his comedy career or old costumes. Instead, it revealed a completely different side of Moe Howard, one that fans had never seen. It was full of personal writings, letters, and carefully preserved items that told the story of a man who deeply cared about how he would be remembered. Moe had worked in secret to collect and protect pieces of his life, not for fame, but to make sure the truth about who he was would eventually come to light. This discovery changed how people saw him, not just as a slapstick comedian, but as someone thoughtful, proud of his life's work, and determined to be remembered in the right way. Behind the laughs and wild antics, Moe Howard was a man of quiet passion, discipline, and deep love for his legacy. His garage, once a mystery, became a window into the real person behind one of comedy's most legendary characters. No one had any idea that what was hidden inside Moe Howard's garage would completely change how the world viewed the Three Stooges. The space, locked and sealed for decades, wasn't just a dusty storage room filled with old props. It held secrets that revealed the man behind the famous bowl haircut had carefully created a public image that hid who he truly was. Among the forgotten boxes and files were personal items, business documents, and one prized possession that symbolized everything Moe had achieved in Hollywood. The world knew him as Moe Howard, the tough, loud leader of the Three Stooges who constantly slapped and scolded Larry and Curly. But his real name was Moses Harry Horwitz, born in Brooklyn in 1897. What fans didn't know was that Moe was very different off-screen. The rough character he played was only a role. In real life, Moe was the brains behind the group and a deeply caring, thoughtful man. He managed their contracts, kept their schedules, and made sure everyone was treated fairly. He worked tirelessly to hold the group together through decades of ups and downs. Away from the cameras, Moe was gentle, especially with children, and fully devoted to his family. He loved to read, collected books, and could speak multiple languages. He even wrote poetry in his free time. Friends described him as soft-spoken and respectful, nothing like the tough guy audiences saw on screen. This is where the mystery of the garage begins to make sense. Moe wasn't just a performer, he was also a man with a long-term vision. He knew that one day, the story of the Three Stooges would need to be told truthfully. So he spent years quietly gathering everything that mattered. Signed contracts, handwritten notes, letters, photos, and other personal items. These weren't saved as souvenirs. They were kept as proof of his journey, from Moses Horwitz to Moe Howard, and his role in shaping one of the most iconic comedy acts in history. What's more surprising is that Moe had strong feelings about how he was remembered. As he grew older, he became frustrated with how little people really knew about him. He talked about wanting the truth to come out one day, not just about who he was, but about what the Three Stooges really meant. He wanted to make sure people understood that behind the jokes and slapstick comedy was a legacy built with serious hard work, dedication, and business smarts. The garage also showed how deeply Moe had been involved in the business side of the Three Stooges. Most fans thought of them only as entertainers, but Moe had turned the act into a powerful business. From the early days with Ted Healy to the golden years with Larry and Curly, Moe was the one making the big decisions. He managed every detail, from film negotiations to live performances, and he kept careful records of everything. In the 1930s and 1940s, the Three Stooges were a huge success. They made nearly 200 short films, starred in full-length movies, and toured across the country performing live. While many other comedy teams faded away, Moe helped the group remain popular for decades. His strategy and sharp mind for business were the reasons behind their lasting fame. And all of it, the documents, contracts, and behind-the-scenes planning, was carefully preserved in that hidden garage. What was once thought to be just a dusty storage space turned out to be a carefully protected vault of history. It revealed the real Moe Howard, a visionary, a protector of his legacy, and a man far more complex and admirable than his on-screen character ever showed. What was later found in Moe Howard's garage completely changed how people understood the Three Stooges and Moe himself. Hidden inside were original Columbia studio contracts dating back to 1946, signed by Moe, Larry, Curly, and Shemp. These rare documents weren't just old paperwork, they were solid proof of the business relationships behind the comedy team. They showed that Moe had been carefully managing deals, making sure that his team's interests were protected throughout their careers. He wasn't just performing, he was also running the business. The garage also held around 300 scripts covering nearly their entire career. Some were from the early vaudeville days with Ted Healy, while others were from later shows, like the animated series The New Three Stooges from the 1960s. What made these scripts special was that many of them were Moe's original handwritten drafts and edits. These pages gave people a rare look into how much creative control he had over their material. One of the most valuable items discovered was Moe's handwritten script for Three Little Pickens, a 1934 short film that marked a turning point in the group's career. This was the fourth official Three Stooges short released by Columbia Pictures, and it helped solidify their identity as a trio. The fact that Moe saved the original version of this script showed just how meaningful that moment was to him. The discovery of these documents and scripts revealed something deeper. Moe wasn't just helping make people laugh. He was building a lasting legacy. He had been saving and organizing everything from their early struggles to their Hollywood success. Among these preserved items were materials from their promotional tours, including posters from their historic 1939 trip to Britain, where they performed at the famous Blackpool Palace. Every single item, from business records to handwritten jokes, was part of a story Moe had been preparing to tell someday. But the most surprising part of the garage was still waiting to be found. In the center of the room was something Moe had truly loved, his prized car collection. At the heart of this collection was a 1952 Cadillac Series 62 sedan. This wasn't just a car to Moe, it was his pride and joy, a symbol of everything he had worked for in Hollywood. While the Three Stooges made good money, Moe had developed a passion for fine automobiles, and the Cadillac was his favorite. With its smooth curves, elegant design, and luxurious interior, the car represented the best of 1950s American style and success. For Moe, the car was more than transportation, it was a quiet statement of achievement. Inside the garage were also documents that showed how important this car was to him. Purchase records and even personal notes described his memories of driving the Cadillac and why he cherished it so much. There were family photos showing Moe proudly standing beside the car at events and holidays. These weren't for publicity. They were personal moments, showing him smiling with loved ones and even teaching his children about the car's features. It was clear the Cadillac brought him real joy. A handwritten note Moe left with the car made its meaning even clearer. In it, he explained that the Cadillac represented the American dream, a reminder of how far he had come from his modest beginnings in Brooklyn. It wasn't just about owning something expensive. It was a reflection of decades of effort and the life he had built through talent, discipline, and perseverance. The most powerful part of this entire discovery was realizing that Moe had built more than just a comedy act. He had created a personal archive, a carefully organized collection of over 1,100 items that told the true story of the Three Stooges. He wasn't saving these things out of nostalgia. He was preserving history. Each piece was chosen and stored with purpose. From original movie posters, including his personal poster for the 1935 short Uncivil Warriors, later valued at $30,000, to scripts filled with handwritten notes, Moe had made sure that future generations would have the tools to understand their real story. Among the most fascinating discoveries were about 100 scripts for their live comedy sketches. These weren't just final versions. They included pages filled with Moe's personal notes and handwritten jokes. They gave a rare glimpse into how he thought about comedy, how he developed ideas, and how much he contributed creatively over the years. These documents weren't just part of entertainment history. They were proof of Moe Howard's unmatched dedication to his craft and his legacy. The archive also held rare promotional materials from the Three Stooges' international tours. One of the most important finds was a group of posters advertising their appearance at the Blackpool Palace during their first trip to Britain in June 1939. These documents proved just how far their fame had spread and showed how carefully Moe had worked to save proof of their success around the world. Even more revealing were the personal items. Family photographs, home movies, and carefully assembled scrapbooks that Moe had kept throughout the years. These showed a very different side of the Three Stooges, their personal lives away from the spotlight. There were home video clips from family vacations, candid photos, and even footage from Curly's wedding. Moe hadn't just saved their professional achievements, he had documented their lives as brothers, fathers, and friends. There were also awards, letters, signed photos, and promotional stills that Moe had saved, each one treated with care and never sold or scattered. These things stayed exactly where he had left them when he passed away in 1975. This showed that Moe had intended for all of it to be kept together, not broken up and sold off to collectors. He wanted the full story of the Three Stooges to stay in one place, preserved as a whole. One of the biggest surprises hidden in Moe's garage was a discovery that completely changed what people thought they knew about his identity. Documents found there revealed that Moe had not always gone by the name people believed. At the center of this surprise was his passport, issued on May 11, 1939. Instead of the commonly accepted Moses Horwitz, the passport was signed Moses Hurowitz. This wasn't just a spelling mistake. It showed that Moe had used a slightly different name in his private documents. This raised new questions about his real legal name and revealed how carefully he had managed his personal identity. It turned out that Moe had used this alternative spelling of his name for official documents, especially during the Three Stooges' first overseas tour to the United Kingdom. The archive also contained contracts, letters, and legal papers that used different versions of his name. This showed that Moe had been very aware of how important names were in Hollywood, and that he had been managing his public image and legal identity with great care. Letters between Moe and studios, agents, and lawyers showed that he often had to address questions about which name to use. The passport and these documents proved that Moe Howard had balanced several versions of his identity. His birth name, his legal name, and his stage name, all while keeping fans focused on the character they saw on screen. It became clear that his public image had been carefully created over the years, not just as part of an act, but as a way to control how the world saw him. But beyond all the professional records and identity papers, the garage revealed something much deeper: Moe Howard's inner life. Some of the most touching items found in Moe Howard's garage were handwritten poems he wrote to his wife Helen and daughter Joan. One of the most heartfelt was a poem titled My Heart's Aglow, which he wrote from a hotel room in Boston. In it, he poured out his love and devotion, showing a deeply romantic and emotional side that few people ever saw. The poem read, "My heart's aglow with thoughts of you every minute of the day. My heart's aglow with dreams so true, till the long night fades away. My heart's aglow with raptures new, my sweet, my angel, mine. My heart's aglow with love for you. I adore you, you're divine. My heart's aglow with memories sweet of what you've done for me. My heart's aglow. My life's complete. You're all I want. You three." These weren't just simple notes. They were carefully written pieces of poetry that showed Moe had a talent for expressing deep feelings. It was clear from these poems that he was a man full of love for his family, and that this emotional side mattered to him just as much as his work in comedy. The fact that he kept these poems alongside his scripts and contracts showed how important his family truly was in his life. The garage also held personal photographs that had never been seen before, including rare images of Moe performing with his brother Shemp as the comedy duo Howard and Howard around 1919, years before the Three Stooges became famous. These photos gave people a better understanding of how far back the brothers' performing relationship went. Even more personal were 16mm home movies Moe had saved. These films showed him enjoying vacations, celebrating with family, and just being himself, a loving father and husband. This wasn't the loud, grumpy character fans saw on screen. It was the real Moe Howard, a man who treasured time with his loved ones and made sure those moments were recorded and remembered. As Moe's health began to fade in the 1970s, it became clear that everything in his garage had been part of a larger plan. He wasn't just keeping old things. He was building a complete record of his life and career. Among the items was a kind of personal autobiography, pages of handwritten and typed notes with careful annotations that showed how much he cared about telling his story truthfully and in full. The legal documents stored there revealed he had planned for years how his collection would be handled after his death. Even the 30-year delay in opening the garage wasn't a coincidence. It was part of his plan to release everything at the right time. Some of the most valuable items included rare movie posters, signed photographs, original scripts, and personal memorabilia, all carefully labeled and preserved. Moe clearly knew that what he was saving would matter to future generations. He didn't just want his legacy to survive, he wanted people to understand it completely. The garage also contained items that showed just how big the Three Stooges had become. One of the most important discoveries was a full set of officially licensed Stooges hand puppets from around 1937, the very first toys ever made of the group. These showed how fast the Stooges had become part of American pop culture. Alongside the toys were awards, letters, and honors Moe received over the years. Proof that even though the group was often seen as simple slapstick comedy, they were respected in the entertainment world. When the garage was finally opened after 30 years, no one was prepared for what they would find. People expected a few souvenirs, but instead they found a carefully organized and deeply personal archive. Moe Howard, the tough guy with the bowl haircut who yelled and slapped his way through hundreds of short films, turned out to be a soft-spoken historian, a skilled businessman, and a deeply devoted family man. The most surprising thing wasn't any single object, but the level of care and detail Moe put into preserving his legacy. He had quietly built a time capsule of everything he had done, both personally and professionally, to make sure the story of the Three Stooges, and the real Moe Howard, would never be forgotten. The poems Moe Howard wrote to his family showed a side of him that most people never saw. They revealed that he wasn't just a comedian playing a loud, grumpy character on screen. He was a kind, loving, and emotional man in real life. His words were full of love and devotion, showing how deeply he cared about his wife and daughter. These writings proved that the person behind the famous tough guy role was actually gentle, thoughtful, and articulate. But one of the most surprising things found in Moe's garage was his 1952 Cadillac Series 62 sedan. This wasn't just a fancy car, it stood for everything he had worked for in Hollywood. It was more than just a vehicle. It was a symbol of the American dream. Moe had come a long way from his modest beginnings in Brooklyn, and the Cadillac showed the success he had earned through years of hard work and determination. He didn't chase fame just for the spotlight. What mattered most to him was achieving something meaningful and lasting. Throughout the garage, Moe had left notes where he described his collection not just as a group of items, but as my dream. It wasn't only about the car, it was about everything he had built over his lifetime. This collection told the full story of his life, both on and off the stage. For decades, Moe had been planning to one day share this private side of himself, to reveal the real person behind the bowl haircut and the slapstick humor. Opening that garage after 30 years shocked everyone. People expected some old props or maybe a few photos, but instead they found a carefully preserved and detailed archive of a man's entire life and career. The man who had made the world laugh with his loud voice and tough guy act was actually one of the most caring and thoughtful figures in entertainment. He had quietly spent his entire life protecting and organizing his legacy so that future generations would know the full story. Not just the funny moments on screen, but the heart, the love, and the purpose behind it all. What about you? What do you think of Moe Howard's secret dream? Were you surprised to learn about everything he had saved and the meaning behind it? From his cherished Cadillac to the full history of the Three Stooges, this discovery gives us a whole new way to remember him. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What surprised you most about this incredible archive?